and welcome to Spotlight on Cheshire. My name is Patty Flynn Harris, and I am presently serving on the Town Council and running for re-election. And this evening is the first of two parts to do a meet and greet with the other candidates for Town Council this year. I have to my left, Paul Bowman, who is running for 2nd District seat on the Town Council. I have Liz Lenehan, who is running for the 3rd District. And directly to my right, we have a newcomer to politics in town, Paul Belagamba, who is running at large with me. So welcome, everybody. Glad that you all make it.
Here.
I know you are. I know you are. Because I said this was going to be a meet and greet, I think maybe I'd like to start off with just talking about our backgrounds, what we do, what our interests are, so that people get to know a little bit more about us. So, Liz, I'm going to kick it to you first.
Okay, well, thank you for having me, Patty, first
Certainly.
of all. I'm Liz Linehan, and first and foremost, I'm a mother. I have 3 gorgeous children who I'm raising in my favorite town in the world, Cheshire, and that's basically why I'm here and why I'm running. I've been a lifelong resident. I went to school here, and I just want to continue to keep this town what it is and move it forward and make it better.
What schools? All the way through from what?
All the way through until Cheshire High School.
Okay.
I was in Cheshire High School for a year, and then I ran for state representative last year, and so we did talk. I was going to
mention that. Yes.
We talked about this a bit last time. I actually went to Cheshire High School and was bullied there, where I was actually violently attacked in school.
Oh.
And so because of that, I went to a different school. However, that made me who I am today. I'm really proud of it. It makes me a fighter. It makes me stand up for the little guy. So it's part of who I am, and it kind of is one of the reasons why I'm here. It makes me feel like I need to stand up for people who don't necessarily feel that they have a voice. I'm here to tell them that they do, and I will be it for them should they need me to be.
That's great. And I was going to mention that fact that you had run before for state, but I didn't realize that was
did pretty good
yes,
for a first timer. So I want to say thank you to everyone who voted for me.
Yes.
That I cannot ask for nicer people in town who gave me such great support, and I'm looking for them to come out this year as well.
Good, very good. Paul, can I kick it to you?
Sure.
A little bit of background. I know you've got a couple of kids. I know you've been in town for a long time, but fill in some details for me.
I'm Paul Belagamba, and as Patty said, this is my first opportunity to run. I have been thinking about this for a number of years, as she knows, and it just kind of fell into place this year that this is the thing to do. So I've been in town since 1989, so I've been here a long time. Both my boys have gone through this Cheshire school system. I am a professional civil engineer in Connecticut. Been doing that for 30 years now, I think.
With a practice, with a firm here in town?
I've worked mostly with consultants, but right now I'm working for a municipality.
Okay.
I've kind of gone over to the other side.
Okay.
Which I like it better than. It's a little less stressful.
Yes,
than
less stressful.
Working for a consultant.
Sure, I can imagine.
It's good work. It's exciting.
And your wife and 2 children? Is it 2 boys?
I have 2 boys. Married 28 years.
Yeah.
Yes. Lori is my wife.
Yeah.
She works for the school system here. She really enjoys it.
And what school is that?
She works at Highland.
She works at Highland.
Yeah, with the 1st and 2nd grades this year.
Oh,
she's
neat.
working, yeah.
Neat. And the 2 boys are, I know one is not in town, one is...
My oldest son just graduated last year from Cheshire High. He's at Johnson & Wales University this year.
Oh, neat. I know you...
So far, he likes it.
Okay.
It's a good thing. That's a good thing. So, and my other son is a sophomore in high school.
Okay.
He's at Wilcox Tech.
Is he at Wilcox? Yeah. And what is he studying there?
He's studying electrical trade.
Okay, all right. Maybe go engineering too, follow his dad, you know.
Well, he's talking about college already, which is kind of amazing for him.
Good,
I think, yeah.
And Johnson & Wales, he must be a real good person to have around the house in the kitchen. Did he always like?
Not culinary.
Oh,
he's
not culinary.
He's going for sports management.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hopefully someday we'll see him on ESPN. But
That's
I don't know
the
about
goal.
that.
Yeah. Okay. Well, at least it's a goal. At least it's a goal. And over here, Matt, you've been around a long time.
Yes.
Family in town for many, many years. Many families. But make believe that some people don't know who you are. And
my name is Matt Bowman. I am running for town council in the 2nd District. I have been a lifelong resident of Cheshire. I have gone through the Cheshire school systems. I have 4 children, Bridget, Stephen, Ashley, and Nicholas. Stephen and Bridget are older, they're done with school. Ashley is a freshman at Tungus Community College, and Nick is a junior at Cheshire High School. I'm a Vietnam era veteran, a member of the American Legion here in Cheshire. I have served on many, many boards and commissions. Most recently, the West Main Street Streetscape Committee. I currently serve on the Water Pollution Control or the Sewer Commission, Inland Wetlands Commission, and then I've served on so many commissions that I can't even name all of them.
Some may have come and gone too, you know.
Some may have come and gone. But I think at this point, my favorite commission was the West Main Street Streetscape Committee.
Wasn't it great?
It was phenomenal. We were able to get so much done. We were able to bring that project in.
Yep.
Patty sat on that
Yep.
commission with me. We were able to bring the project in under budget, under what we were allowed,
Yep.
and we had the ability to do much more than our initial plan was.
And what's so nice right now is that even from people who are not from that section of town, our section of town, that you know, when they come over and they see how great it turned out with the planters and such, and now we've got some new businesses down there that are really interested to get the West Main Street active as a little arts community also.
Right.
Hopefully with the people that are interested in ball and socket. I think we made a really great first step in enlivening that neighborhood.
Absolutely. Ball and socket is certainly the jewel
Yeah,
in the crown of West Cheshire.
yeah, yeah.
And the reason that I have decided to run for the town council again is really because the way the town has been running, the mistakes that have been made in the past with the pool. I'm a go-getter. I'm a doer. I'm going to get things done. I'm not going to waste time, and I'm not going to waste money.
Okay. You're jumping in right even before I even said anything about myself, so I'm going to
Well,
cut you off for
Patty,
just
go
a
ahead.
second. Although not much to say, other than that, as I mentioned earlier, I am already serving on the town council, and this will be the second time that I've run for a full term. I served on planning and zoning for almost 12 years and served as chair at one point. I've always been active in town, although I didn't grow up in town like you two did, but I have always been active in town. I think that was part of my upbringing, based with the League of Women Voters. In fact, Paul and I first met each other. We were reminiscing, it's gotta be 15 years ago if I say that, volunteering for Cheshire Interfaith Housing, an organization that we were both very active in at one point when we were building the very first house. So yes, I enjoy being in this town too. Liz, let's talk about some of the things though that have sparked your interest. And I know going from the state, and we've talked about this before, it's a little bit different when now we're on a local level.
Right.
There are different issues, and I'm not talking about in depth, but what are some of the things that you said you wanted to give voice to?
Well, first, I want to keep Cheshire the beautiful little town that we all love. I want to preserve the way it looks. I want to preserve the feel that it has and make it continue to feel more homey. I think what you did in West Cheshire was so beautiful, and that's my neighborhood.
Yes.
As a matter of fact, when you guys were wrapping that up and I started to go down there and I was looking at all the those beautiful chairs that are on display now. I don't know if
Yeah.
it'll be on when this airs, but I started to think back when I would go through the train tracks to get to a little convenience store called Shortstop. My mother never let me do it, but I did it anyways. That, you know, to think of what that was, West Cheshire was then, as to what it is now, that's really can sum up what I look for in moving Cheshire forward. I want to keep that feel that you put down there, and I want it to be all around town, and I especially want it to continue in the 3rd District. I also, you know, I want to make sure that our tax dollars are going towards services that we put to use here in Cheshire. I think a lot of times people say, well, what do my tax dollars actually do? And the thing is that a lot of times they do go to services that we use that people don't understand. So in addition to speaking up for the people of my district, I also want to speak for the town and explain to them the services that they could take advantage of. I think a lot of times people don't get involved in their town as much as they could if they only knew what we had to offer. So additionally, I'm actually very interested in the pool. I know it's such a hot button issue, and I've been talking with a lot of people around town, and there's a lot of misinformation going around, and we can't get into it now. I understand there's not enough time for that, but I think that it's very important that this is going to referendum, and I really want the people of Cheshire to decide where we should go with this pool. Personally, I think that when it comes to serving on the town council, it's going to be mine as well as everybody else's who's on the council to make sure that we do everything right and we do it right the first time. And that speaks to what's been happening with the pool lately. So what I would really like to see happen is the people of Cheshire standing up and coming out in big numbers in order to vote what they think for the pool. The pool committee put together a wonderful package for everyone to see. I hope that everyone's going to the town website so that they could see what it means bottom line for them, which is basically amounts to almost nothing at this point. So I really think that that is a big hot button issue, and I want to make sure that people get out to the polls to vote how they feel about the pool.
Excellent comments. Excellent
Well,
comments.
thank you.
And especially because it really is important for people, first of all, to vote anyway. And we, both as a town as well as a state, unfortunately, in off years, just municipal elections, have a tendency not to be able to get people out. And I think it's important to have an issue like the pool, whether you're for it or against it, to come out and to express your opinion. Paul, what are some of the things that interest you in town? I know you've been active with your kids when they were growing up, but what is spurring your interest now? Because, as you said, you were interested before, you were thinking about it, and the timing was just right this year.
Well, I have to agree with Liz. I like Cheshire the way it is and keeping it the town that it is, but I think we need to also look at in the north end of town, our industrial zones, and all, trying to utilize those better and get some more tax base in here. Take some of the burden off the citizens, the property owners. I'm also, one of my issues is we talked about it the other day about the needs assessment that we're looking at for the town buildings, town facilities. I think that's something that really needs to be done to assess all the buildings, the school department, the school buildings, the town buildings, and the facilities, the parks. Mixville is a park that doesn't get used much anymore, and it's kind of been neglected since the pool came into town. But those are some of the things I'm concerned about right now.
And to flesh that out a little bit more for people who aren't aware of some of those issues, is that during the recent budget discussions, both the Board of Ed had come forward, as well as the town manager, to separately propose to have needs assessments done of the buildings separately. Board of Ed, because of looking at the infrastructure of those buildings and how old the schools are, and the amount of money it's now taking for us to maintain and upkeep them. And the town manager had been requesting money for the past few years in the budget cycles to look at the town buildings and reutilize, and where, if necessary, reutilizing them. And so Paul and I were talking about that quite a bit, and whether or not, even if it shouldn't be a full one that touches on both, because of the ages of the buildings. And I think that's an important issue going forward, especially in this day and age when you realize, just as I said, how old they are. I think your comments too, Liz, are great, and Paul's, about the town and trying to keep this balance. I think one of the things that, although it's been expensive, and certainly we're glad that the state and the federal monies have been coming through for the linear trail, which, yes, we've all walked the tracks and are glad the tracks are gone, and that expansion. That gives a nice touch to that whole area of town, and especially if ball and socket could be upgraded. But on the other hand, we do have to have that balance of the North End and the development that we need, you know, to be able to help with the tax base.
And Patty, if I may?
Sure.
I would also like to throw in there that we can't forget that part of what makes our town a nice little town is the fact that we have these houses on these nice stretches of land, and I don't want to have to start shoving all these houses in, you know, so our lot size become little and we're all living on top of each other. Actually, we talked a little bit about, you know, how I ran for state representative, and now I have to, you know, kind of make that fit for Cheshire. I want people to know that when I ran for state representative, you know, we talked a lot about how the housing market would signify that the economy is moving upward, which is wonderful. If I was running on a state level, I would say things like, you know, it's important to start building, you know, and keep that going. But I want to really stress that running for town council, keeping my eye on the ball here for Cheshire, means that I want to preserve our small town community feel. And so while I agree that going with the industrial, building that up and bringing in more tax revenue, I still want to make sure that on the residential side that we are keeping our open spaces, that we are not going to be living on top of each other, and we can preserve that small town
Yeah, I
feel.
think our zoning is in a pretty good shape. And Matt, you certainly can talk about that as well as a few others.
Having developed a few pieces in Cheshire.
Just a few, yes.
Yeah, Cheshire actually is very lucky that it's our plan of development is that our town has between 20 and 25% of open space available, which it does. We are currently a little over 22% of our town is dedicated open space. And I too agree with Paul at the tax base of the North End, especially the retail development that is going up there, that has the potential to bring us in between $2.5 and $3 million per year.
That's exciting.
That's a huge, you know, tax increase for us without a burden on the residential people.
Right.
And you know, I've seen this town grow from 5,000 people to almost 30,000 people. And you know, the sad thing is that our retail hasn't expanded with it, and now this gives us the opportunity to be able to shop in town and stay local and not have to go to the malls and around the area.
Yep.
I think that's very, very important.
Yeah.
I also want to speak on some of the issues that are near and dear to my heart. I said that I was serving on the
Inland wetlands?
water pollution control. It is ironic that 2 years ago I asked, and I actually came out against the expansion of the water pollution control plant, and I was against that for only one reason, that we weren't ready. And we have done so many projects in this town that we were not ready to do. And I was vehemently opposed to it. And I must say now that I am positively for the plant, for the expansion. And the reason being is prior to last year, we did not have any guarantees from the state of reimbursement of loans or grants. After waiting 1 year, we now have $7 million from the state. We have, we are one of several towns that have applied for a grant that will give us reimbursement for the phosphorus from 30% to 50%. So that is certainly going to be, you know, another $1.4 million that we're getting. And the state has also granted us a 2% loan on the balance of whatever the plant is. And I think those issues were important, and they needed to be decided first before we could decide what the plant was.
And I think that's an excellent comment, just to remind people of the fact that that was the largest referendum issue that we had both turned down and then brought back up again for $32 million. And I agree with you. I think that year was also not just for the funding, although that was so critical, but I think it also, and you might agree, give our consultants who have been working the RFP, as well as the engineering aspect of it, to make sure that they had down all the statistics and all the information that they needed to be able to have a good, solid RFP go hit the street, which it did. And right now we're looking that hopefully we'll be breaking ground in the fall, or?
They'd really actually like to get started earlier than that. They'd
Okay.
like to get started immediately because there's two settling tanks that have to be taken care of, and they'd like to get them done sooner than later, which actually could save us money. If they get them done sooner, our on-site consultant and inspectors will be let go sooner with a less of a cost to us, and the contractor will be able to save us some money also and getting it done sooner.
Good.
I'd also like to say that another one of the reasons that I am running is, I've watched the town council recently, especially our Republican brethren, the fire truck. The fire truck that needs to be replaced is a 1972 Snorkel. It's been taken out of service, and the excuses that I have heard from the Republicans are, well, we have mutual aid. I just hope that people understand what mutual aid is. Mutual aid is aid that is given by other towns in our area. We have to call for mutual aid, and I would not want to have my family or one of the families in this town waiting the 20 to 30 minutes that it will take to get fire apparatus from another town.
If they're available.
And that's
If they're available.
That's right.
Mutual aid is only if available.
If they're available.
So we could be turned down. And again, I would not want one of my family members or one of our constituents waiting for a fire truck.
Well, and I think the thing that's important to dovetail that, Matt, is that a lot of people don't understand the discussion regarding a new aerial truck has been brought up more and more in regards to the North End and proposed building that would go up there that would reach a certain height that we wouldn't be able to manage without another aerial. And one of the things that was so evident to us when discussion with the fire department was that the importance of an aerial truck is also in a community such as ours, where we have second-story colonial style as well as other style houses. You cannot put the equipment on the front lawn. You can't put it on their driveway. And so an aerial ladder, especially for a second-story house, is needed to be able to extend if there was a roof fire, and to be able to help if, God forbid, there were people that needed to escape from a second floor. So it's not just going straight up. And I mentioned that to the fire chief more than once, that better pictures really needed to be out there to understand, for the public to understand. We're not talking aerial in a height of 100 feet, as well as the fact that it's going horizontally 100 feet to be able to reach a second-story home.
Well, Patty, most of your homes in Cheshire from the street line have to be set back a minimum of 40 feet. So that means that that aerial is halfway out before it gets to your home.
Yep.
One more issue that I want to bring up, and again, this is very important to me. And it's important that we have done so many projects in this town that have not been done correctly. And of course, the pool is number one. But number two is, and most recently, people have driven by the center of town and have seen the new sidewalk going in front of the Congregational Church. Well, what people don't know is that sidewalk is soon to be torn up again. It has been down less than a week, and it's going to be torn up as soon as the new brick is available. And I think that's a sad state of affairs. We did a lot of research on the West Main Street Committee to make sure that we put concrete pavers in that wouldn't react badly to our weather and our sodium calcium chloride, I should say,
Right.
To make the sidewalk safe in the winter.
Right.
And some of our town council people decided that they didn't like the color and they would prefer to do something in brick. So we're tearing it up again, doing something twice instead of doing it right the first time.
Well, thank you for echoing what I said. That's exactly right. Let's do it right the first time.
Paul, anything else?
Well, I have to agree with Matt on these issues here.
Yeah.
The linear trail was one that you brought up,
Yeah.
and it kind of, it's a good asset we have in the town. And I talked to people from out of town. I said, oh yeah, you go to the trail and it's great to walk or ride a bike or whatever. But the linear trail goes from New Haven to the Massachusetts line.
Right.
That's the idea. The only section missing is in Cheshire,
That's
pretty
right.
much,
Yeah.
and we need to get that finished.
Yeah.
At a good cost to the town.
Yes, and luckily so far, knock on wood, the state, because they really have made that a priority this past year, hopefully will be coming through, so, yeah. So I think I've got a little short window. I promised everybody that I wouldn't be too long. Very quick around. One more time. Anything that we want to say? Happy that you're running? Happy that you're running? I'm very
glad to be running.
I'm glad you are too. I'm very happy with the slate that we have this year. Our second show is going to feature the other candidates, both that are running for council and at large, including Mike Ecke, Peter Talbot, who am I missing? Dan Nowak, and one of our new candidates for the 1st District, Kristen Selleck. So I hope everybody is watching for the second show that comes on Cox, and thank you very much for watching Spotlight on Cheshire.